welcome to State of Events. I'm Lindsay Regis.
And I'm Haley Vetterline.
Today on State of Events, we have the latest information on the Panama Papers scandal. The Prime Minister of Iceland resigned today. Sigmundur Gunnlaugsson is the first prominent leader to step down since the leaking of the Panama Papers. The former Prime Minister insisted on staying in office after the 11 million documents were released to the public. The documents suggest Mr. Gunnlaugsson sold a company he bought back in 2007 and sold it to his wife for $1. This occurred right before a new law went into effect, which would have required him to declare his ownership of the company as a conflict of interest. The former Prime Minister says he didn't hide their assets or avoid paying taxes. For more on the documents that led to the Prime Minister's resignation, we turn to our world news anchor, Michael Overby, for this startling discovery.
Thanks, ladies. Well, folks, it's another week, another story of potential global corruption. Following last week's Unaoil corruption scandal, it seems the country of Panama has stolen the spotlight. They're being called the Panama Papers. Despite the name, the papers are actually 2.6 terabytes worth of information on offshore account holdings held in, you guessed it, Panama. This is considered the largest secret data leak in history. Over 11.5 million documents were released by an insider from Mossack Fonseca. Mossack Fonseca is a Panama-based law firm that specializes in the creation of offshore accounts through fake businesses. You heard that right, a business that specializes in creating fake businesses. This practice is designed to hide wealth in tiny island tax havens. The nearly 12 million documents have been evaluated by journalists in over 100 organizations from 78 countries. Numerous high-profile figures were mentioned in the documents, including Russian President Vladimir Putin, Argentinian President Mauricio Macri, and as mentioned before, Iceland's Prime Minister. These three are just some of many other notable figures being mentioned throughout the papers as having ties to these fake businesses. Now, it's entirely legal to use offshore structures. There are many legitimate reasons for doing so. Business people in countries such as Russia and Ukraine typically put their assets offshore to defend against raids by criminals. However, this practice can be easily abused. It is believed by many of these journalists that big names in business, politics, and sports, most notably FIFA, use these fake companies through Mossack Fonseca to evade trillions of dollars in taxation. Despite the hundreds of individuals working through the data dump, there is still much to be discovered. Stay tuned to find out more on the ongoing investigation. On the other side of the world, Greece has begun its official deportation of migrants back to the country of Turkey. Loaded onto boats and shipped off for an uncertain future, these are migrants being deported on the controversial one-in, one-out measure between the European Union and Turkey. Under this new deal, anyone who crosses into Greece illegally will be shipped back to Turkey. For every Syrian sent back to Turkey, an embedded Syrian refugee will be resettled somewhere in Europe. Turkey will receive billions to support the migrants. Officials hope this will reduce the overwhelming numbers arriving in an unprepared Greece. Opponents of the bill believe that sending these refugees back to their war-torn countries is not the answer. For more on the largest refugee crisis since World War II, stay tuned to State of Events. Back to you guys.
Now let's talk about a story that is trending around San Francisco State. You have probably seen the video by now of a confrontation between two students over one of their hairstyles. This video has opened up a discussion about cultural appropriation around campus and the country. Jerry Burgos has the story.
Confronted over his choice of hair, Corey Goldstein, an SFSU student, recalls the moment everyone is talking about.
What happened was I was walking the quad right here. She was handing out a flyer for a poetry event or something. I'm not exactly sure what, but I was interested in what she was handing out, and she was about to give it to me and said, "Sorry, we don't want people with your hair here."
She is Bonita Tyndall, an SFSU student and member of the Associated Students Incorporated. Tyndall is a cinematographer with various films on YouTube, like this one, named The Things We Carried, which focuses on the struggles of growing up black. When we asked Goldstein what he would tell Bonita Tyndall, his response was remarkable.
That me and her should have discussed and could have discussed in a positive way. Obviously, the situation was handled negatively, but the amount of hate that she's been receiving is not okay. That's something that she's been dealing with so much because of this issue, and that's not how it should be. We should be dealing with this with love and respect, not disrespect and hate.
Corey Goldstein has been very clear with State of Events, telling us he just simply wants all of this to go away.
it is affecting his daily life, and he thinks it is deeply affecting Bonita Tyndall's daily life as well. We spoke to campus police, and they told us that there has been charges filed against Tyndall by Austin Key. The person that filmed the event has filed charges against Bonita Tyndall for harassing him and his camera lens. In San Francisco, Jerry Burgos, State of Events.
The video of Corey Goldstein and Bonita Tyndall sparked controversy and opened a huge dialogue about racism and cultural appropriation. State of Events correspondent Michelle Gong is here to give her take on the situation.
Let me ask you something. How often do African American women straighten their hair? How often do Asian women curl theirs? How many women of any race do both? Are they guilty of appropriating another ethnic culture for doing so? Not necessarily. Now, in a video that went viral last night, SFSU student Bonita Tyndall tells Corey Goldstein that he can't wear dreads because it's insensitive and appropriating African American culture. Now, I understand her point of view because the history of cultural appropriation is there. However, it is ignorant to just assume that Corey decided to put his hair into dreads with ill intent. What if the hairstyle just fits in with his lifestyle? Dreads are well known to be convenient because they're easily maintained. People of two different races can have the same type of hair. No race has sole ownership of a certain texture of hair like there's a copyright on it. It is a civil liberty to be able to don whatever hairstyle he pleases for whatever reason. It's quite possible that he didn't know or understand the significance of the hairstyle to the African American culture. However, unthoughtful and physically provoking confrontations about cultural appropriation are extremely counterproductive to the real issues of race and racism. It is rude, disrespectful, and racist in itself to initially assume that a white boy was purposely trying to appropriate a minority culture. That's like reverse bigotry. And that's not how you fight individual, social, economic, political, and institutional racism, because that's BS.
And California's minimum wage deal has formally gone into effect. Governor Brown signed the bill on Monday in Los Angeles. The plan will raise minimum wage to $15 by 2022. This marks the highest statewide wage in the U.S. Critics say it will decrease the number of jobs and hurt small businesses. But Governor Brown says the decision to set the nation-leading wage was about economic justice. The first increase will begin next year at $10.50. Each year will go up until it reaches $15 in 2022. San Francisco may become the first U.S. city to offer fully paid leave for new parents. State laws says mom and dads get 55% of their salary for up to 6 weeks of family leave. Today, supervisors vote on a measure that would require employers to pay the other 45%. Supporters say this will help lower incomes and stay and care for the newborn baby. Small business groups oppose this idea because it would be too expensive for the employers. This would apply to businesses with 20 or more workers.
There was a protest in San Francisco last week over the right to breastfeed in public, sparked by what one mother says was a heated confrontation at the city's Human Services building. I personally went down to the building today to find out more information. I am standing outside the Human Services building where a group of women gathered to show support for a mother who says one of the building's security guards told her to cover up or leave. Now this happened as she was breastfeeding her baby inside the building's waiting room. There was a peaceful rally that featured mothers and babies and breastfeeding. The woman in question said she had felt harassed by the guard and said it all began when she was quietly nursing her child in a waiting room at the Human Services building on Otis Street in San Francisco.
I was quietly nursing my baby and all of a sudden I hear somebody yelling at me, "You have to cover up if you're going to be in there." And I was shocked. So I turned around and I saw this guard, and he was maybe 10 feet away from me, and he's a big guy, he's maybe 6'5". And I said, "That's not what the law says." And he threw his hand out, and he threw his arm out, and he waved his hand back and forth, and he said, "I'm not trying to argue with you," and he walked away. And I was very upset, and what he insinuated is that I was breaking the rules.
And that was not the end of it. She says the guard later returned, and the conversation became a lot more heated and disrespectful. Bottom line, the mother says that she and her friends want to remind people that it is a mother's right to be able to breastfeed in public. During the protest, the agency's deputy director came outside to speak with the women. He wanted to apologize for what happened and told the mother that it was her right to nurse her child inside the Human Services building. In San Francisco, I'm Haley Vetterline, State of Events. Coming up after the break, we'll tell you who gets free showers and laundry service in San Jose and find out which airline is no longer a virgin.
Before City Car Share, we were spending a lot of money on gas and insurance. I felt like I had to check my bank account every time I went driving.
City Car Share is great because the membership includes insurance and a gas card. I don't even know why we owned a car in the Bay Area.
Now we just have more money to spend on other things.
City Car Share is an important part of our lives.
City Car Share gives you the benefits of using a car
without the hassles of owning one.
Even common daily routines can make important changes. Changes like higher wages, better living, and justice. Sometimes it's just a matter of making the right choice. Fair Trade certified coffees are bought directly from family farmers, guaranteeing them better incomes and strengthening their communities. Fair Trade certified. Taste fairness. Look for the label wherever you buy coffee.
Welcome back to State of Events. It's Tuesday again, and this means that another U.S. state is voting in the presidential primaries. State of Events reporter Kasia Pirog will tell us why today's votes are very special.
Thank you, Haley. The presidential nomination race is definitely accelerating. Here is what we know about today's election evening in Wisconsin. Ted Cruz has a lot to win or plenty to lose tonight if he does not beat Trump in this fight for delegates. Here are the latest delegate results for the Republican Party. We can see that Donald Trump is leading with 737 votes. Cruz is losing to Trump by over 250 votes, and John Kasich is far behind in this race. John Kasich has only won so far one state, and a win in Wisconsin tonight would not give him any significant advantage in this race. For Ted Cruz, on the other hand, it's a must to win tonight in order to get closer to Trump before delegates from the East Coast vote on April 19th. According to recent polls, Cruz has a big chance to win in Wisconsin due to Trump being under scrutiny over abortion controversies and criminal charges pressed against his campaign manager. On the Democratic side, Bernie Sanders is expected to be today's primaries winner, even though Clinton will most likely leave Wisconsin with a clear delegate lead. Sanders has been successfully persistent by recently winning 6 out of 7 states. This is it for today's election update. I invite you to tune in later today to watch the Wisconsin primaries unfold live.
If you plan to ride Caltrain, you'll need to take a second look at the schedule. All trains will have changes in departure times. An additional Bombardier car will be added to the trains. This increases the bike capacity from 48 to 72 bikes. The changes are being made because of the increasing number of rides during peak commute times. Over 60,000 commuters take Caltrain during the weekday. Caltrain operates above 100% of capacity during peak hours. Adjustments will be made to the departure times by a few minutes. Alaska Airlines has confirmed it's buying Virgin America. Alaska Air will pay $57 a share, making it a transaction of about $2 billion. It will expand Alaska's presence in California, particularly in LA and San Francisco. The expansion plans to include 1,200 daily departures. The merged business will be based in Seattle. Both companies' boards approved the contract, but are waiting on Virgin America shareholders to approve the transaction. The deal is expected to close by January of next year.
Wildfire season may be arriving sooner than usual. The official declaration is still a few weeks away, but CAL FIRE has already fought 325 fires statewide since the beginning of the year. With the rain-fed grasses and brush already drying out and the first heat wave coming, CAL FIRE says we are likely to see more fires. The El Niño rains may have helped with the drought, but CAL FIRE is saying there is still a lot of long, dead grass that built up over the past several years. And with warm temperatures and strong winds coming, it could fuel more fires in the coming days. A warning for the South Bay. A man was robbed of thousands of dollars after test driving a car he found through Craigslist. It happened on Saratoga Avenue last Thursday. Police say the victim made plans to meet with the person selling the car to test drive it. When the man said he would buy the car, he gave the suspect $8,000 in cash. But when he looked at the title, it had a woman's name on it and didn't belong to the person selling it. The man tried to sell the car, then ran away with the money. Police haven't been able to find him. This is a good reminder to always be careful about what you buy through Craigslist.
San Jose will start offering free showers and laundry services to the homeless. The City Council has approved a mobile hygiene program to those living on the streets. We Hope is the name of the project that started the Dignity on Wheels trailer. The trailer will travel to different locations in San Jose and offer 15-minute showers and use of a washing machine. The city is also looking to buy 2 properties worth $1.1 million on Gallup Drive. They plan to turn the vacant area into an affordable housing development. It could provide up to 40 new homes units for the homeless.
The governor of Mississippi, Phil Bryant, signed a religious freedom bill into law today. Many states have tried to introduce similar religious freedom laws since the U.S. Supreme Court made gay marriage legal last year. The legislation says the Mississippi state government won't punish those who refuse to provide services to transgender people or same-sex couples. Governor Bryant says the law doesn't limit any constitutional protected rights or actions. However, many LGBT activists beg to differ. The executive director of the American Civil Liberties Union of Mississippi protests. It's a sad day for Mississippians because they can now be turned away from necessary services based on who they are. Last week, the Petaluma